Let me ask you something, and don't worry, this stays just between us. Do you ever find yourself slowing down more than you'd like? Maybe you used to jump out of bed ready to take on the day, but now? It feels like you're walking through molasses. Your energy dips by mid-morning, your focus wanders, and that spark, the one that used to keep you sharp, strong, and confident, feels like it's flickering instead of blazing. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, nearly every man I see over the age of 60 has the same quiet complaint. Doc, I'm just not running on all cylinders anymore. And here's the part they don't always say out loud, but it hangs there in the air. I miss feeling like a man. Well, today, I want to talk to you about something simple. No prescriptions, no complicated diets. Just food, specifically, 3 powerhouse nuts that can help restore energy, improve performance, and boost vitality. Yes, even down there, without overwhelming your daily routine. And the best part? You only need a small handful a day to start feeling the difference. But first, let me introduce myself in case we're just meeting. I'm Dr. Robert Jansen, a men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience working with older men just like you. And what I've learned is this: small, consistent changes in what you feed your body can transform how you feel in your body. And that transformation can start with something as humble as a nut. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Joe. He's 67, a retired firefighter, and he came into my office not too long ago feeling frustrated. He said, "Doc, I still go to the gym 3 times a week. I'm eating better than I did in my 40s. But I've got no fuel in the tank. And let's just say, things aren't exactly working like they used to with my wife either." Now Joe's a proud guy. Tough, practical, the kind who doesn't complain easily. So when he sat down to ask for help, I knew it wasn't just about energy. It was about reclaiming that deep, steady strength that makes a man feel like himself. I didn't hand him a bottle of pills. Instead, I reached for something that surprised him. "Ever eat Brazil nuts?" I asked. He looked puzzled. "You mean like the ones in trail mix?" "Exactly. You see, Brazil nuts are rich in selenium, a mineral most men are unknowingly low in by the time they hit 60. Selenium isn't just good for your thyroid and immune system, it also plays a major role in testosterone production, sperm health, and circulation. But more than that, it's about cellular energy. When your selenium levels are where they should be, your cells function better. That means more stamina, sharper focus, and yes, improved performance in every area of life. I told Joe to eat just 2 Brazil nuts a day. Not a handful, not a cup, just 2. Why? Because these little guys are powerful. Too much selenium isn't good, but just the right amount? That's where the magic is. Now before I continue, let me ask you, does this kind of no-nonsense, practical health advice resonate with you? If so, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss the next videos. And tell me in the comments, have you ever eaten Brazil nuts regularly? Just drop a yes or no down below. I read your answers to shape future content that helps men just like you. Now, back to Joe. He added those 2 Brazil nuts to his breakfast every morning. A week later, he emailed me. "Feel a little more alert. 2 weeks in. Workouts are easier. I'm not dragging." A month later, he smiled when he came into my office. "You were right, Doc," he said. "My wife noticed before I did. That's the beauty of the right foods. They don't just help one part of your body. They support your whole system, hormones, heart, brain, and bedroom included. And while Brazil nuts are a fantastic place to start, they're just one piece of the puzzle." Joe's story reminds us that sometimes, it's the smallest changes that spark the biggest shifts. Because the truth is, your body wants to function well. It wants to generate energy, maintain muscle, perform with strength and confidence. You just have to give it the right raw materials. That's why the next 2 nuts I'm going to share with you are just as essential. Because each one supports a different aspect of male vitality, and together, they create a powerhouse trio that's easy to include in your daily routine. But before we get to those in the upcoming parts, I want you to understand something foundational. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing certain nutrients. That means even if you're eating what feels like a healthy diet, you may still be running on empty. Magnesium, zinc, omega-3s, vitamin E, These all play a role in how we feel day to day. And guess where you can get all of them in concentrated form? From nuts. Now I'm not talking about roasted, salted, honey-glazed varieties. We're going for raw or dry roasted, unsalted, and as close to whole as possible. Why? Because added salt and sugar only create inflammation, and inflammation is the enemy of performance, circulation, and recovery. The key is balance. You don't need a giant bowl. Just a small handful. A few Brazil nuts, a few of the others we'll talk about next, eaten regularly, paired with water and movement. That's what starts to rewire your body's engine. And when your engine's running strong, everything improves. You think more clearly. You move with more purpose. You sleep deeper. You even feel more desire. Yes, even if it's been a while. Because the desire never really leaves. Sometimes it just gets buried under years of fatigue, stress, and poor circulation. But when you nourish yourself the right way, consistently, with intention, that fire can come back. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. So as you finish watching this part, I want to leave you with a challenge. Go to your kitchen, or the grocery store, and pick up a small bag of raw Brazil nuts. Not a giant canister, just enough to try it for a week. 2 nuts a day. That's it. Keep them by your coffee maker or next to your vitamins. Let this be your first step. Because that's what Joe did. And it led him back to the man he thought he had lost. And you? You're not lost. You're right here. You're learning. You're taking care of yourself. And I'm proud of you. Let's keep going. So there Joe was. 2 Brazil nuts a day, nothing fancy. No overhauls. No supplements. Just a habit he could actually stick with. And as that quiet strength began to return to his mornings, something remarkable happened. His entire attitude shifted. I'm walking taller, Doc, he told me. Literally and figuratively. That's when I knew it was time to introduce the second essential nut. One that works a different kind of magic, especially when it comes to stamina, heart health, and keeping a man's motor running from sunup to sundown. Now before I tell you which one it is, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt winded after just climbing a flight of stairs? Or maybe you've noticed you can't quite catch your breath the way you used to during a walk, or even after something as simple as bending to tie your shoes? That's often a sign that your cardiovascular system isn't working as efficiently as it once did. And believe me, you're not alone. Most men over 60 start to experience some kind of decline in circulation, especially if there's been years of stress, sitting, or a diet that didn't exactly follow the food pyramid. But that doesn't mean all is lost. In fact, one particular nut has been shown to help improve vascular elasticity, reduce bad cholesterol, and increase healthy blood flow. And when your blood is moving better, your energy improves, your focus sharpens, and yes, your performance in the bedroom often follows suit. That nut? The humble walnut. Now, I know, walnuts aren't exactly exciting. They're not trendy like almonds or exotic like macadamias. But what they are, is powerful. Walnuts are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly a type called ALA, alpha-linolenic acid. And while most people associate omega-3s with fish oil, walnuts are actually one of the best plant-based sources you can get. And that matters. Because omega-3s help reduce inflammation throughout the body, especially in your arteries. Think of it like this. If your blood vessels are garden hoses, years of stress, poor eating, and aging can cause buildup inside them. That makes it harder for blood to flow, especially to the parts of your body that rely on quick, healthy circulation. But when you eat omega-3 rich foods like walnuts, you help clear that buildup and restore flexibility to those hoses. And guess what happens next? You feel more awake, more energetic. You recover faster after physical activity. Your mind feels sharper, and your endurance improves, in every sense of the word. Now let me tell you about Martin, a 74-year-old jazz musician I've worked with for years. A man full of rhythm, soul, and stubbornness. He came to see me not long after Joe and said, "Doc, I've got no pep in my step. Even blowing into my sax wears me out. My lady's starting to ask if I'm okay." We ran a few tests, nothing too serious, but definitely signs of sluggish blood flow and low omega-3 levels. I told him about walnuts. Just a small handful a day, 5 to 6 halves. Raw or dry roasted, unsalted. Toss them into oatmeal, salad, or just eat them as a snack. He was skeptical. You telling me some nuts are gonna bring back my groove? I smiled. Give it a month, and tell me yourself. Martin added walnuts to his lunch every day. No other major changes. And by week 3, he called me with excitement in his voice. Doc, I played a 2-hour set last night without missing a beat, and afterward, well, let's just say I really impressed my lady. That's the thing. We underestimate how small changes to our diet can ripple out into every corner of our lives. It's not about fixing one symptom. It's about supporting your entire system to run the way it was meant to. Smooth, strong, and resilient. And listen, I get it. It can feel a little strange to think that eating a few nuts a day could really have that kind of impact. But it's not just about the nuts themselves, it's about what they represent. Nourishment, intention, giving your body the respect it deserves. So let me ask you, are you willing to make that kind of investment in yourself? If the answer is yes, take a moment to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and tap the bell so you're always in the loop when new tips come out. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried eating walnuts regularly before? Drop a yes or no in the comments, and tell me what you noticed if you have. I read them all, and your stories help other men feel less alone in this journey. Now, you might be wondering, can I combine walnuts and Brazil nuts? Absolutely. In fact, I encourage it. Just be mindful of the quantity. A couple of Brazil nuts, plus a small handful of walnuts, and you've got yourself a daily dose of minerals, healthy fats, and antioxidants that are working behind the scenes to rebuild your energy and performance. And here's a bonus. Walnuts also support brain health. So if you've been noticing more forgetfulness or a little mental fog, this habit can help clear that, too. I want to go back to Joe for a moment. When he started with Brazil nuts, he felt a lift. When he added walnuts, he started telling me about how he was able to spend longer doing things he loved, gardening, reading, even helping his grandson build a treehouse. I just feel like me again, he said. Not some older version of me. Just me. That's what this is really about. Getting back to yourself. The man who still has so much to offer. So much to enjoy. So much to live for. So tonight, before bed or while you're watching the evening news, take a handful of walnuts. Keep them next to your reading chair. Pair them with a couple of Brazil nuts in the morning. Let it be part of your routine, your rhythm. Just like Martin found his groove again, and Joe found his footing, you can find your vitality again, too. And the best part? We're not even done. There's one more essential nut, one that ties the whole picture together. A nut that supports testosterone, muscle maintenance, and intimacy in a way that the other two don't fully cover. We'll talk about that soon. But for now, start simple, start consistent, because you're not running out of time. You're just getting started. By now, you've met Joe, the determined firefighter who found his spark again with just 2 Brazil nuts a day. And Martin, the jazz-playing romantic who brought his groove back thanks to a handful of walnuts. Both men discovered something powerful. Real change doesn't always begin with medication or complicated regimens. Sometimes, it starts with what you eat, and how consistently you support your body from the inside out. And now, we come to the final nut in our trio. The one I recommend for every man over 60 who's trying to build stamina, support muscle strength, and feel more grounded in his body again. This one is often overlooked. Maybe because it's so common, people don't realize how much power it actually holds. That nut? The mighty almond. Now I know what you might be thinking, almonds? Really? That's it? Yes. And let me tell you why. Almonds are rich in magnesium, a mineral your body desperately needs, especially after 60. Magnesium plays a crucial role in muscle function, testosterone regulation, blood sugar balance, and even your heart rhythm. But here's the thing. Most men over 60 are deficient in it. And the consequences of that deficiency are often brushed off as just getting older. You know the signs: muscle cramps, low energy, irritability, trouble sleeping, lowered libido, that afternoon fog that makes you want to crawl into bed instead of going for a walk. I see it all the time. One man in particular comes to mind. Paul, age 69, a retired electrical engineer and one of the most meticulous guys I've ever met. Tracked every vitamin, every lab result, every doctor's note. But despite his precision, he came into my office one day practically dragging his feet. "Doc," he said, "I'm doing everything right. But I'm still exhausted. My legs feel like lead. My mood's off, and I just feel dimmed. That word hit me, dimmed, as if someone had turned down the light on a man who used to shine so brightly. So I asked him if he'd ever had his magnesium levels checked. He hadn't. We ran a test. Sure enough, low. Not dangerously low, but enough to impact everything from sleep to strength to, you guessed it, performance. Now sure, I could have given him a supplement, and in some cases, that's needed. But I always prefer to start with food first. Because when you eat your nutrition, your body absorbs it more naturally and gently. Plus, almonds offer more than just magnesium. They're also packed with vitamin E, protein, and healthy fats that stabilize blood sugar and help keep your hormones in balance. So I gave Paul a plan. A small handful of raw almonds, about 10 to 12, every day as a mid-morning snack. Not honey roasted, not covered in chocolate, just plain, raw, or lightly dry roasted almonds. He looked at me like I'd missed something. That's it, I said. But do it every day. Don't miss. Let's see what happens in 3 weeks. 2 weeks later, Paul called. Doc, I didn't believe it, but I've got more energy. My legs feel lighter. I'm sleeping through the night again. And my wife? She says I'm not grumbling all the time anymore. We both laughed, but the truth is, his transformation was real. Just like Joe's. Just like Martin's. This is the part of my job I love most, not the science, not the charts, but seeing men come back to life. Watching them go from worn down and uncertain to energetic, confident, and reconnected with who they are. And that's why I want you to hear this. The almonds in your kitchen cabinet may be doing more for your strength and stamina than you ever realized. If you've been feeling foggy, weak, or just off, this tiny habit might just flip the switch back on. Now let me pause for a moment and check in. Has this been helpful for you so far? Are these food-based tips making sense? If they are, would you mind clicking the like button, subscribing to the channel, and tapping the bell icon so you don't miss what's next? And leave me a comment below. Have you ever noticed a difference after eating almonds regularly? Just type yes or no so I know where you're at. I read all your comments because it helps me guide this journey with you. Now, if you've been following the story so far, you'll notice something important. Joe had his Brazil nuts. Martin had his walnuts. Paul had his almonds. But here's the key. They each chose something sustainable. Something they could stick with. That's where most people fall short. They go big, fast, then burn out. But one small handful of almonds a day? That's sustainable. And here's another benefit. Almonds help regulate testosterone levels by supporting adrenal function and reducing oxidative stress. That means your energy isn't just a short burst, it becomes sustained. Your workouts improve, your recovery improves, and even your desire, intimacy, and self-confidence get a boost. It all connects. You don't need to be a bodybuilder. You don't need to be chasing youth. But you do deserve to feel strong, clear-headed, and connected to your body at any age. That's why these 3 nuts are so powerful together. Brazil nuts feed your hormones. Walnuts support your heart and circulation. Almonds rebuild your muscle energy and support your mood. And they all fit right in your palm. Now imagine this daily rhythm. 2 Brazil nuts with breakfast. A handful of walnuts with lunch or sprinkled in a salad. 10 almonds mid-morning or before your evening walk. Not all at once. Spread out through your day. Let them feed your body, naturally and gently, every few hours. This is how you build lasting energy, not the kind that crashes or needs caffeine to survive. I'm talking about the kind of energy that builds you. That gives you your stride back. That makes you wake up and think, I've got this. And as we get older, we need that kind of reinforcement. Because aging isn't just about managing decline, it's about discovering new ways to feel fully alive. That's what happened to Joe, Martin, and Paul. And it can happen to you, too. So as you think about the rest of your week, I want to challenge you. Go out and get these 3 nuts. Small bags. No gimmicks. No fancy brands. Just simple, whole food. Make them part of your routine. Write it down. Build it into your rhythm. You'll be amazed what happens when you support your body with the right fuel. Because the man you remember being, the one full of life, drive, clarity, and fire, he's still there. He's just waiting for you to feed him. Over the years, I've watched countless men walk into my clinic feeling frustrated, worn out, and frankly, a little defeated. And every time I meet one of these men, whether it's Joe with his quiet fatigue, Martin missing his rhythm, or Paul wondering where his energy went, I remind them of the same truth. Your body hasn't given up on you. It's just been waiting for you to give it what it needs. And that's exactly what those 3 simple nuts, Brazil nuts, walnuts, and almonds, do. They aren't flashy. They don't promise overnight miracles. But they nourish the parts of your body that have been whispering for help. Your blood vessels, your hormones, your muscles, your mind. And when you start giving your body the right support consistently, it responds. Let's go back to Joe for a moment. A man who simply added 2 Brazil nuts to his breakfast every day. He wasn't chasing youth, he just wanted to feel awake again. Present, capable. By the time I saw him again after a few weeks, he looked 5 years younger, not because of his skin or his posture, but because of the light in his eyes. His energy had returned, and so had his confidence. Then there's Martin, our sax-playing romantic who built his stamina back with a handful of walnuts. Not only did his performances improve, so did his connection with his partner, his mood, and his sense of purpose. And Paul, the man who felt dimmed, just 10 almonds a day, and he was back to sleeping through the night, walking with strength, and feeling like himself again. 3 men, 3 stories, 1 message. Your vitality is still within reach. Now, I want to speak to you, heart to heart. If you've been dragging yourself through the day, wondering why the spark is gone, if you've been avoiding the bedroom or turning down invitations to socialize because you're just not up for it, if you've silently questioned whether your best days are behind you, I want you to know, you're not alone. And you're not done. In fact, you may just be on the edge of something better, if you're willing to take that first small step. This trio of nuts is not a magic trick. It's not a superfood gimmick. It's a foundation, a daily commitment to fuel your body naturally, gently, and with intention. And here's what I recommend, something I call the 3-nut routine. Morning, 2 Brazil nuts with breakfast. Easy, simple, just 2. That's your selenium boost, the mineral that quietly supports your testosterone and circulatory health without fanfare. Mid-morning, a small handful of raw almonds, 10 to 12. Not salted, not coated, just plain. These give your muscles the magnesium they need to move, recover, and regulate energy. Afternoon or evening, walnuts. 5 or 6 halves. Toss them in a salad, eat them plain, or mix with some fruit. These give you those brain and heart-loving omega-3s your body craves to stay young on the inside. That's it. No supplements, no pills, no protein powders or hormone shots. Just food, real, whole food your body understands. Will you feel the difference overnight? Probably not, but give it 10 days. Give it a month. Let your body adjust. Let it remember what it feels like to be fed instead of just filled. I've watched this work for men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. And it works not just because of the nutrients, but because of the act itself. The act of saying, I care enough about myself to do this. Now before we close, let me ask you something. Are you ready to give your body that care? If you are, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss the practical tips and support coming next. And I'd love to know where you are on this journey. Have you tried any of these nuts before? Are you planning to start this 3-nut routine? Drop a yes or no in the comments below. Your answers don't just help me, they help the entire community of men reading and watching. You may never know whose life you'll inspire just by sharing your story. Now, some of you may still be wondering, can food really do all that? Can it really bring back strength, passion, and vitality? And I'll tell you what I tell every man who asks that question. Your body is a living, breathing system. When you fuel it right, it doesn't just survive, it thrives. Your energy, your performance, your confidence, they're not gone. They're just waiting for the right support. And that support starts with what you put on your plate, in your hand, and into your routine each day. You don't have to go back to your 30s to feel powerful again. You just have to go forward, intentionally, from where you are right now. So tonight, instead of grabbing that cookie or skipping dinner altogether, go grab your 3 nuts. Put them in a small dish. Sit quietly. Enjoy them. Feel the weight of that decision. You're not just snacking, you're restoring. And let me say this, from one man to another, I'm proud of you for being here. For watching, for for caring, for choosing your health, and for remembering that no matter your age, you still matter. You still have more to live, more to give, more to feel. I'm Dr. Robert Jansen, and it's been an honor walking through this journey with you. Stay well, stay strong, and keep choosing yourself, one small handful at a time. Good night, my friend.